Hey, everybody, and welcome to Schoolism Interviews mini-series. In her artistic career, Karla Ortiz's work has been wide and varied. As a concept artist, Karla has worked for amazing studios such as Ubisoft, Industrial Light and Magic, Universal Studios, and Marvel Studios, and many more. As a professional illustrator, her images have been featured on covers and in books. As a fine artist, she has shown in the Studio Gallery SF, the Safe House Studios shows, Spoke Art Gallery, Nucleus Gallery, and Think Space. So without further ado, here is the wonderful, the incredible Karla Ortiz. Please enjoy. Can you tell me a couple things that surprised you about doing concept art for live action film? I know we all have these conceptions before we get into the business, but generally there's always some things where you're like, oh, I didn't really think about that, or that's a bit of a surprise.
Yes, there's a couple actually. So when I first started live action, I came from a mobile gaming background, mostly gaming as well. And one of the few things that immediately became apparent was the difference in silhouettes. For gaming, silhouette is really important because as a gamer, you have to quickly identify what's in front of you. You have to very quickly say, oh, this is this type of character, this is this type of item. You have to be fast paced about it. So you rely on a lot of like big silhouettes. Even if there's like a lot of minimal detail, you still need to rely on really big silhouettes. Film is kind of the inverse. Film, you still utilize like silhouettes as best as you need to, but remember a lot of these materials are going to be real, and a lot of this can be seen in a real world scenario. So, for example, if in my video game I had a character with giant shoulder pads and it looks great in a video game, that might not translate so good in real life because then you have a bunch of normal people and Mr. Giant Shoulder Pads over here. Doesn't work. So it's about minimizing, but being really, really efficient with your detailing of things, really paying extra attention to how things are built, because that's another really important one. Let's say you're working on a movie and your character costumes are going to be turned into real costumes. People need to be able to move in them. People need to be able to clip things, and things need to make sense. So that's the other thing. You really need to think about the functionality of the things that you're building. Little things like, for example, on Doctor Strange, I designed originally Strange with some like cloth pieces, ninja-like cloth pieces on his hands. However, costume design came back with the concern that that can't be done because the actor's going to be constantly using their hands, and therefore, if there's cloth here, that's going to shave and hurt, and that's going to cause a lot of pain to the actors. And that was like, oh my gosh, yes, you're right. So even when designing any kind of thing, you want to make sure that a person can move with it, a person can breathe with it. Little things, for example, if you're designing armor, if you design the shoulder area too high, a person can't turn their arm because the shoulder area is just going to hurt your neck and your chin. Uh, so again, things like that you need to think of. And then lastly, think about the storytelling elements of the details you put into the characters. All of those things are going to be on film, and they're all going to show, and they're all going to translate, and they're going to enhance the film process or the filmmaking process. Because, for example, you look at a character and how very similar to what we do in real life. We'll look at people around us, and we'll immediately build up stories by just what they're wearing. What people wear is so expressive and so specific to what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you who they are. And characters that you see in film are the same way. So when you design for that, make sure you add those storytelling elements. Like, for example, why do certain characters have certain patches over them? Well, maybe it's because they're a part of a really good, cool group, and that group is part of the storytelling. So of course they'll have patches. Or why are their hands so dirty and the clothes so dirty? Well, because maybe this character's a little, doesn't care about being clean. It's a little bit rough around the edges and so on. So think about who the character is and clothe them and add the costume based on the kind of story you're trying to tell.
Now, a huge part of the success of this channel and everything that I do is because of you, the listener, so thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and then press the notification button, because that way you'll get instant notification of the next time I put out a new video. Thank you very much.